What is good, everybody, man? This is your guy, Manny, and this is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. So, football is back. I was excited as all get out just to have football back. I don't know about you guys. It was the Buffalo Bills, it was the Rams. These are two Super Bowl potential candidates, right? One from the NFC, one from the AFC. But the Rams did not look good at all. Matthew Stafford struggled a lot. We saw Matthew Stafford target Cooper Kupp a lot. It's not that Cooper Kupp is so good. Matthew Stafford was just scared. He went to Cooper Kupp over and over and over again. Now, they went and got Allen Robinson, right? And Allen Robinson was supposed to be this guy who comes in and compliment Cooper Kupp. He was being guarded by rookies and young corners and couldn't get separation, or there was no connection with Stafford. That's the importance of playing in the preseason. When you play in the preseason, you kind of get some reps together. Camp is different. All these different things that you do in practice is different than game time situation. I do expect Allen Robinson to be better as the season, progresses, but for the Allen Robinson fantasy owners, you guys are pretty worried right now because this could be a trend. So he had one catch for 12 yards. So Allen Robinson was not good. But back to Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford had 3 or 4 interceptions. Let me look at the numbers real quick. Matthew Stafford had 3 interceptions. He threw the ball 41 times. He completed 29 of those. 1 touchdown to Cooper Kupp, who just continues to score at a high clip. Matthew Stafford was sacked 7 times. So the offensive line has some issues. Von Miller was a game changer for the Bills with the Rams not having Von Miller and not having Odell Beckham Jr. You see why the Rams struggled. Also, the Rams not having Van Jefferson is a huge loss, and we see that. Cooper Kupp had 13 receptions for 128 yards and a touchdown. I mean, the guy had 15 targets and he caught 13 of them. Cooper Kupp is amazing. He's amazing, but they're going to need more than Cooper Kupp because outside of Cooper Kupp, you had a Higbee with 5 receptions, and then you had Henderson with 5 receptions. So Henderson looked okay. In PPR fantasy format, he had, 13, 14 points. But Cam Akers had 3 carries for 0 yards. That's a big issue. I want to say that Cam Akers was targeted at one time in the passing game, but it's a big issue. We were thinking that Cam Akers was going to be healthy, right? He's not healthy. So this is crazy to me. But then, it's just the first game. People tend to overreact after the first game. But the facts are the facts. The Rams defense did not look good at all. Jalen Ramsey they were going after Jalen Ramsey like crazy. They went after him. They went after Jalen Ramsey like he was a rookie. And on that last touchdown, there was a touchdown that Diggs should have had. And Diggs was like telling him it was this close. I love the Ramsey and Diggs talking trash back and forth. Of course, it's mutual respect. But, man, they're both competitors. And yesterday just showed me how great of a player Stephon Diggs really is. For those who watch my fantasy shows, I told you guys, you got to start Stephon Diggs because you drafted him. But with Jalen Ramsey shadowing, you would think that Stephon Diggs would not have the kind of game that he had. Let's go ahead and switch gears to what the Rams were able to do. Let's look at Stephon Diggs. He was targeted 9 times. He caught 8 of them. So he was catching everything his way. And the majority of the time, it was Jalen Ramsey guarding this guy. And it all started out like with little dinks and dunks and little short passes. He was catching these things at a high clip. And I'm like, in the first half, I'm just shocked. I'm like, he's running some crazy routes, precise routes. Josh Allen throwing the ball right on the money. So Diggs had 8 receptions, 122 yards, 1 touchdown. That's amazing for Stephon Diggs. Then when you look at Josh Allen, right, he had 2 interceptions, but the 2 interceptions were not his fault. It was one on McKenzie, one on Jamison Crowder. I felt that the slot position for the Bills struggled. They missed the Cole Beasley. Some of those timing things that Cole Beasley was able to do and the connection with Josh Allen, it just was not there with McKenzie and Jamison Crowder starting out. But things did finally get better. So, like I said, Josh Allen threw the ball 31 times, completed 26 of those. He had 3 touchdowns passing, 1 touchdown rushing. Not only that, he was sacked 2 times, but he led the team in rushing. He had 10 carries for 56 yards. At first, they were being real conservative with Josh Allen. He wasn't really running the ball. He was trying to, be a pocket passer. But when they unleashed Josh Allen, the offense went to a whole nother level. It was crazy. He had 10 carries, 56 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Devin Singletary did look good. He had 8 carries for 48 yards. 8 carries for 48 yards. Had he had more carries, he probably could have had 100 yards. The way he was going, he was averaging 6 yards per carry. And then he was also involved in the passing game. He caught 2 receptions for 14 yards. So I loved what I saw out of Devin Singletary. Zach Moss, he's still a thing, but he fumbles, right? Then James Cook, he comes in, he fumbles. So those 2 guys are going to be faded out, or they're going to be eased on in. This is Devin Singletary's job. For those who watch the fantasy shows, Devin Singletary is a must-buy candidate as of right now, just because James Cook and Zach Moss fumble. So you're going to see the lion's shares of carries going to Singletary. You're going to see Zach Moss as a change of pace. They're going to ease in James Cook. As of right now, James Cook is not going to be a factor. Outside of Stephon Diggs' big game, there was another receiver that had a lot of hype coming in. If you guys watch the fantasy show, I talked about Gabriel Davis. This is Gabriel Davis' season. He was targeted 5 times. He caught 4 receptions. He had 88 yards and 1 touchdown. My prediction for Gabe Davis this game was 5 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. So I was 1 reception and a few yards away from my prediction coming true. Now, the tricky thing with Gabe Davis is that he's not going to have consistent targets. 5 targets this game was decent, but I would like to see Gabe Davis around 7 targets a game. That would be lovely. 7 targets a game is right where I want to see him because, Stephon Diggs is going to get the lion's share of the targets. Crowder stepped up after that, he was kind of shaky, then he kind of stepped up a little bit. McKenzie scored a touchdown, so he's going to be involved. Zach Moss was involved in the passing game, so a job that was supposed to go to James Cook. Now you have Zach Moss as a guy that you can pick up in fantasy if you play deeper league. So I did like some of the things that Zach Moss was able to do. Dawson Knox was non-existent. 1 reception, 5 yards. Where was he? Terrell Emmons led the Bills in tackles with 10 tackles. They were flying around. The defense was great. Von Miller, like I said, MVP of the game on the defensive side of the ball with 2 sacks. These guys had 7 sacks. They were just rotating people in and out. The Bills looked good. It was an awesome game to start the year. I'm excited for Sunday. I don't know what Sunday holds, but we're going to see a lot of surprises. We're going to see a lot of people play good, some play bad. But just remember, don't overreact after the first week, just because this is a preseason game for a lot of the teams, especially the teams that held off their guys. This is your guy, Manny. This is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. Please like, please share, and I'll catch you guys on that next video.